Hello, viewers. We are back with Tech Bytes after a couple of months, and Tech Bytes, as usual, is a summary of everything that Nasscom Insight does, from insights, reports, events, sessions, videos. Everything is covered in Tech Bytes. This edition has got a lot of interesting areas covered, like AI, Gen AI, BPM, GCCs. So let's start hearing it from our analysts. Namita, so we have the second edition of the annual Nasscom Generative AI Startup Landscape Report ready, and you have authored it, right? So, talk to us about how have things changed since last year when we started covering this sector, and what are the new things that you have seen in the market?
Sure, Achyuta. I think very interesting study and some very interesting findings. So let me give you a perspective in terms of numbers first, and then we'll talk a little bit about the qualitative shifts. I think if we speak about India, last time when we covered this up to June of 23, we had about 65 odd startups. A lot of them
Gen AI startups.
Gen AI
Yep.
startups in the assistant space.
Mhm.
Now we are clocking almost 240 plus, and this is as of June. So I'm sure there's been a lot more progress. First. Second, in terms of funding, I think we've significantly increased the inflow that we've seen, although it's a little lesser than the global one. We are now at almost 760 million plus funding levels. So what we've added is about 150 million in the last year. Uh, what interestingly we've seen is a lot of models come up. 17 models that came up, although fine tuned, but across the spectrum in terms of language or multilingual coverage, vertical models, and probably a couple of interesting names, Sarvam and Trutrum, would ring a bell because both of them drew almost $50 million each in their funding rounds. So that drew a lot of the investments for us. We've also seen significant rise in the number of assistants. So now of the portfolio, almost 55% is assistants. But the paradox is that they are not drawing too much of funding. So that is where the next level challenge lies for the Indian Gen AI landscape, which is we are counting well in terms of numbers, but we are not growing the funding because we need to diversify a lot more across the stack. We've seen that happen. So now we have a lot more productivity tools, services, startups, but we need to deepen that those layers a lot more. Um, in terms of the overall stacking of India, compared to global, so we looked at six countries or six regions, I would say: US, UK, the EU region. We looked at Japan, Israel, and then India. We wanted to do China as well, but couldn't find much verifiable data. But there's been rapid progress in China, as everybody knows. But across these six, India was good in number of startup additions year on year, probably the second ranking. But we lack a lot when it comes to ticket size of funding. Our median ticket size is the lowest all in among the six, and also the whole infrastructure aspect. I think those two kind of continue to pull India down in the stacking, but I'm sure that there will be a lot of progress as more of the India AI scheme of the government kicks up. Overall, I think in terms of growth, I would say great count, more diversification and deepening across the stack. We need to do more on the productivity services side of things, more on the platform side of things. A lot of startups have gotten funding, but still 40% are without it. Almost 75% are reporting revenues, but less than 100K. So all of those things are slowly progressing, but we need to do a lot more there. And I think we are pretty much primed for that. So very interesting study. Viewers, do take a read.
Thanks, Namita. The key highlights Forex growth in terms of number of startups, 70 new LLM models, Indian LLM models to watch out for. Monetization has started to happen. Startups are making money, but is that enough? That is not happening. Free report, viewers, please download it. So, Sneha, you've done the first GCC playbook by Nasscom, right? And this is focusing on Telangana. Why Telangana? Can you share key insights from the report? Why did you do it? Objectives, and what were some of the key findings?
Sure. Serves as a comprehensive guide for GCCs who are looking to set up operations in Telangana, as well as those units who want to expand in different states in India. It also serves as good showcasing platform for government to highlight their supportive policies in the state. Some of the key highlights of the playbook include Telangana emerging as the global business hub. Uh, about 30% of the new GCCs have chosen the state in the last 5 years. Um, the state also, has a good mix of existing and emerging locations. The existing one being Hyderabad, it has about 2,000 plus tech services firms, 500 plus tech startups, and a good mix of talent pool, about 20 80K college graduates coming out every year. uh, there are two other emerging locations of the state, Warangal and Karimnagar. Warangal has about 2000 plus tech services firms, a few tech startups, and about 20K college graduates per year. The other location we've highlighted is Karimnagar, which has about 50 plus tech services firms, few tech startups, and approximately 10K college graduates per year. So, in all, the report, highlights the strategic advantages of the state in terms of, skilled workforce, strong infrastructure, and supporting government policies. We encourage you to download the full report to have a deeper understanding of the landscape in Telangana, as well as some hacks to navigate the market complexities.
So thank you, Sneha. Viewers, the interesting part is there's more to Telangana than Hyderabad. The two other cities that are there, do check them out. Check out the report, and we'll look forward to the future playbooks, Sneha. Thank you.
Sure, thanks.
Okay, Madhumay, so you've done the second edition of Nasscom's Gen AI tracker, the quarterly tracker that we do. What are the key highlights this quarter? How is it different from last quarter? Could you share some of those thoughts?
Talking about the generative AI tracker of this quarter, I'll first talk about the global section. So there is a 2.3x decline in overall generative AI startup investments. However, there is a rise in investment in agentic AI and data center. Four new unicorns were created in July to September segment, which is Harvey, Magic AI, Codium, and Sagana. Investments that have gone more than $150 million actually comprises approximately 80% of the overall funding that was made in the global segment between July to September quarter. If I talk about the Indian segment, overall in India, there is a 6.3x rise in investments in generative AI startups. In terms of funding rounds, there is a 3x rise. Report, we have also talked about significant rise which is happening in the overall generative AI activity among the tech industry in India. Report, we have also provided an illustrative list of activities that has happened in strategy, talent, new launches and partnerships. Also, the report shares some of the key defining features of enterprise platforms that is being released by tech service providers from January 2023. The report also provides an illustrative list of launches that has happened over the period of time. The study has details of three enterprise platforms that have launched as a showcase for the industry. So first one is TCS Wisdom Next. The second one is Birla Soft Cogitio.
Thank you, Madhumay. And just to summarize, viewers, the global Gen AI activity has declined, but the activity in the Indian market has really perked up. But don't get too excited by the 6x figure. Last quarter was a terrible quarter for GenAI funding in India, so this number is just coming back to normalcy for us. This report also has a great index. It is the GenAI quarterly tech intensity index, where we measure all the tech companies and what are their activities and how that index has improved. And what we see is that partnerships has actually increased significantly in this quarter. And the three enterprise platforms that Madhumay mentioned, one from Wipro, one from Birlasoft, and one from TCS. The details are over there. Do check out the report. Do download it. It's a free report. Thank you, Madhumay.
Thank you, Achyuta.
Okay, Prajwal, the first report for you today, it's on BPM, right? And what's the impact of AI on BPM? But can you tell the audience what are the key findings from the report?
Sure, Achyuta. So, the BPM industry is going through, unprecedented evolution, with technological advancements, changing client expectations, and also how BPM service providers are now servicing their clients. So, I'll talk about the key shifts that the report highlights. Though, so the first one is, how BPM service providers are moving up the value chain from, managing simple transactional tasks to handling more complex, more strategic, and more value-adding, tasks that the clients have. The second is around shift towards outcome based pay. So with this we have from a survey that the revenue from outcome based pay is set to increase 2 to 3x in the next 3 years. The third one is around platform based services that is also gaining grounds, and which is set to increase again 2 to 3x in the next 2 to 3 years. Ajita, one key trend here is about vertical specific solutions that is gaining traction in the BPM industry, and the revenue contribution from vertical specific solutions is also set to double in the next 3 years. Actually, I would like to also highlight that Gen AI is at the forefront of this transformation, with 60%, more than 60% of the organizations are taking Gen AI as their top investment priority. And not only this, we are seeing rising adoption of Gen AI and AI across BPM organizations, be it in the contact center space or be it across business functions. And with this transformation, because of technology, we see a shift in the lower level of management and also at the middle level of management. We see more domain centered, more specialist kind of jobs appearing in the mid layer, which is sort of expanding. And if I can talk about a few examples, for example, loan processing specialist, e-commerce specialist, revenue cycle management executive, these sort of roles are gaining traction in the market. Now, not only this, Achita, with this also comes a few challenges. So, according to the people survey that we conducted, the top challenge that is there is lack of adequately skilled candidates, followed by data insecurity issues, and also high attrition rates. So, in the report we highlighted a few recommendations around this. So, the first one was forming academia partnerships, where companies can help the academic institutes to make amendments in the curriculum so as to get a more ready workforce for them, and also for companies to have or to develop in-house learning platforms to upskill their current employee workforce and also the freshers that they hire. So Chitra, these were the key few highlights that I wanted to share with our audience.
Sure. So, viewers, the impact of AI on BPM is a long-term trend. I think we are just seeing how new jobs, new skills are coming in demand, and BPM and AI is creating new opportunities for BPM. Watch the space. We'll be bringing more research around this topic. I think there's another report that you have done, which is on compensation, and everybody wants to really know what's really happening from tech compensation perspective. What do they expect in next year when it comes to increments and bonuses? This is the fifth edition of the report that we are doing with Deloitte, right? So could you share some insights?
Sure, Achyuta. So, Achyuta, this report is based on survey findings from our Indian Technology Compensation Benchmarking Survey 2024. And I'll start with the overall attrition trends. So we saw a decline in attrition trends for the overall industry compared to 2023. And if we talk about some of the retention strategies that companies adopted, that includes employee engagement, more employee well-being initiatives being in place for companies. And the third one is around more job rotation opportunities for the employees. Now moving on to the total rewards trends that we saw with this report. In terms of salary increments, Achita, that declined this year. Depending on the the level of management. Also, in terms of bonuses, we saw a decline there, and we see it declining in FY25 as well. And again, this varies across the levels of management. Now, moving on to some of the key skills, Achita, we saw, AI, ML, predictive modeling, and cloud computing being, some of the top skills that are there in the market. And for these particular specialized skills, some of the niche roles are also commanding premium this year, and which is an increase compared to the last year. Now, moving on to Achita, campus hiring, we saw that companies are focusing more on strategic thinking, financial management, and project management capabilities while hiring engineering and management graduates. Also, in terms of infant attrition, companies are emphasizing more on giving joining bonuses to the freshers that are being hired, and but again with a 2 year clawback period. So these were some of the highlights from the report, and I think we have good insights from this. How these salary increments are declining across levels, and also I would like to highlight in this one, the share of women employment across levels of management is, and also across functions, continue to dwindle. So this is a recommendation in this report that companies need to focus on at least the junior professional level, the entry barrier that women are facing while entering an organization. So these are some of the key highlights from the report.
Yeah, and I think the good part is that it's not all bad news. Salaries may
Yeah.
have declined for some sectors, but it has increased for a lot of sectors. So, viewers, please download the report to know more about which sectors the salaries are going to increase next year and which sectors they're going to stay stable or decline. We just want to know from you also what were some of the key happenings in the Indian tech sector in the last couple of months, happenings in terms of M&As, contracts, deals. Could you share some of the highlights?
Sure, Achyuta. So I'll start with some of the deals and contracts that we saw in the past 2 months. So starting with Infosys, collaborating with Old National Bank, which is an expansion of their 4 year contract. Now with this, Infosys plans to transform their operations and also process digitization for the bank. The second key deal was between LTTS and Shell. Now, with this contract, Achita, LTTS aims to integrate engineering, design, and procurement services for Shell global assets. Now, moving on to some of the key partnerships that we saw in the past 2 months, HCL Tech collaborated with Intel to expand in terms of giving data protection services for enterprises. So they launched Data Trust Shield. Now, with this, both the companies aims to enhance protection of sensitive data on the cloud environment. The second key partnership we saw was between Tech Mahindra and AWS. Now, within this partnership, they aim to integrate Gen AI solutions in telecom networks. Now, Achata, talking about some of the key M&As that we saw in the past 2 months, starting with Cyient that acquired around 27% stake in US-based India startup Azimuth AI. And with this, Cyient aims to expand its capabilities in the semicon industry. The second major acquisition that we saw last month was, between IBM, acquiring a Bengaluru-based startup, Presinto. And with this, IBM aims to bolster its leadership in the energy and utility sector. So, Cheta, these were the key deals, partnerships, and M&As that I was able to witness in the past 2 months.
Thank you, Prajwal.
Thanks, Achita.
Thanks. So, Khyati, we had a very active outreach, sessions in the last couple of months, right? Could you share some more thoughts on what we really covered for the audience?
So, in last 2 months, we have had a series of engaging and insightful sessions and stories. To start off with, we released our new video playlist, Vision Talks, where we showcase leaders with bold visions for India's transformation into a developed nation. For episode 1, we had Mr. Madhu S. Nair, CMD Cochin Shipyard, where he shares an inspiring roadmap to make India one of the top 5 global shipping nations by 2047. And for more inspiring content on our YouTube channel, we also have the launch of India GCC landscape report, where we explore the evolution of global capability centers in India. For more inspiring content, do check out our YouTube channel, where you'll also find the launch of the India GCC landscape report exploring the evolution of the GCCs in India, a fireside chat on the BPM shifting gears report focused on future ready skills and careers. Also, there are insights on sustainability practices driving impact across tech organizations featuring Nagaro. Also covered highlights from Kerala Insights Day, where we talk about AI adoption, tech trends, and many other challenges in these emerging cities. And do not miss the photo story glimpses from Nasscom Technology Confluence 2024 for Pune and Bhubaneswar, where we discuss and celebrate transformative technologies like AI, IoT, quantum computing, and themes like sustainability, diversity, and women in tech. The photo stories are live on our LinkedIn and Twitter handles. Link for all these videos and stories are in the description box below. Do check them out.
Thank you, Khyati.
Thanks, Achita.
Okay, viewers, I thought this was a very interesting Tech Bytes this month. Lot of new areas were discussed from an AI perspective, Gen AI perspective. How do we continue to grow the generative AI startup landscape in India? If you look at the overall generative AI, the generative AI ecosystem in India, how do we continue to get more funding into the ecosystem? If you look at BPM, what is going to be the impact of AI on jobs and careers? And if you look at the GCC playbook that we released, the key question there is how do companies leverage this playbook to grow the GCC ecosystem in their respective states? So download the reports and please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And wait for the next month. We'll have more new content coming up very soon. Thank you.